You're watching News at Prime. Let's get into this conversation now. There appears to be no end in sight to the tensions in the tripartite alliance with the ANC Youth League and the Communist Party's Young Communist League in a public spat. That's what they effectively are engaged in now. The Young Lions are accusing SACP General Secretary Solly Mapaila of hypocrisy, claiming the ANC sold out by forming a government of national unity with certain parties, in particular the Democratic Alliance. Well, ANC Youth League Secretary General Mntuwoxolo Ngudle is in studio with me. A little later, we'll be joined by the SACP's Young Communist League representative. Mr. Ngudle, let's welcome you for the time being and understand why it is that you felt it necessary to mount your own attacks on the SACP General Secretary over and above what the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, had to say yesterday. Was that not enough for you?
Thanks for having us, Solly. Greetings to you and the viewers at home. The Youth League has not mounted any attacks on the SACP per se. What the Youth League is saying is that it is unfortunate that the GS of the party would go in public or any public broadcaster or any newsroom just to attack the ANC as a selling out position to have a GNU. Now, that particular position, we're very firm on it. It's very unfortunate, and we think that that should not happen. We have even said it to the SG of the ANC that also the response in public is not warranted in light of the fact that the progressive forces in South Africa are, under attack by the right-wing liberal forces in this country. And this has been evidenced by the 40% electoral outcomes, where the SACP is an alliance member. Remember, the ANC does not go into elections alone. It's an ANC-led alliance, where the party is there, COSATU is there, SANCO is there, including us, the leagues of this organization, which is the ANC Youth League, the YCL, even SASCO and COSAS.
All right. Can I stop you there for a moment? You're saying you're not attacking the SACP General Secretary. But when you say the leaders of the SACP, whether they are in ministerial positions or deputy minister positions, they must pack up and leave the GNU if they feel so strongly. Is that not an attack?
Well, remember, we were very clear about the fact that the party should be taking responsibility of the positions where we are, all of us, as the Congress Alliance, including themselves. The GNU is not just the GNU of the ANC, it's the GNU of the Alliance, led by the ANC. The ANC is leading the Alliance. We, the ANC and the party, are not tactical allies on the basis that there are elections. These are organizations that have been in trenches together for the liberation of this country. And they continue to be in strategic alliance, not in tactical alliance like the GNU is, So the one leader of the party or the ANC has no right to attack each alliance partner in public and in the media houses. And that's what we are condemning in this particular instance. And we're saying the party must take responsibility, much as we are, the ANC must take responsibility of being the leader of the alliance. If there are any matters that ought to be ventilated, those matters must be ventilated in the alliance meetings and not in public. Worse so when the progressive forces in this country are under attack. We can't allow a situation where we have the mother bodies of this organization attacking each other. That's why we indicated to the YCL leaders that don't enter the fray of discussing politics from a point of view of attacking each other. If there are any matters to be ventilated, this accusation that the ANC has sold out in the GNU is unwarranted. It's unwarranted only because the ANC received 40% electoral support, and it called every political party to come on board into a government of national unity. And that government of national unity, the ANC never retreated and said, therefore this must reverse the gains of democracy, and therefore this must reverse transformative policies. The ANC is very clear that it is not wavering its commitment on transformation of the country's economy, on ensuring that it defends the gains of our democracy. Now, what is this selling out position that is being mounted by some in the quarters of the alliance without ventilating those particular matters within the alliance? So these are the issues that we are saying must not happen. And we're calling upon all the members and leaders of the party, the ANC, including the leagues, not to enter into this fray. It's an attempt to ensure that the alliance, the progressive forces of this country are further fragmented, and that the right-wing forces are united in ensuring that they weaken the progressive forces. And that's what we're calling for, and we're saying to everybody, desist from entering into this particular public care spat.
Briefly then, Solly Mapaila, the General Secretary of the SACP, how else is he to raise his frustrations as an alliance member?
Only in the tripartite alliance particularly, or in the Congress alliance, as you know it, everybody has a right to raise burning issues into the meetings of either of the party or internally in the alliance. Now, everybody who is part of the alliance has a responsibility of this revolution in South Africa. Nothing wrong of the party to characterize the state of the revolution. Nothing wrong about it. But to call the ANC a selling out position to have a GNU, as though any party within those that were voted by the electorate in South Africa were not called into the GNU. No party was never called, including the MK party, by the way, which we characterize it as counter-revolution, that fragments the progressive forces. You see, we called it and said, MK party, here is a government of national unity. This is about ensuring that South Africans, particularly black South Africans, who have been at the receiving end, of colonialism and apartheid in this country. You see, of transatlantic slave trade that preceded colonialism. These black people who continue to be in the margins, who are living in squalor conditions, we all seek to transform the conditions and in which they live. We seek to empower these. The ANC is very clear on its program that it wants to liberate Africans in particular and blacks in general, and very clear about that particular program. So the African agenda cannot be achieved through acts of counter-revolution. Now, the party is expected to engage that particular matter within the alliance. If there are concerns that the party has, they must be ventilated within the alliance and not engaging in each other in public spats or in media houses. It is very wrong. And that's what we're condemning as the Youth League.
Okay. Now, for a South African, ordinary South African, who's not aligned politically, all they want is for this country to function so that the economy performs and people are absorbed into jobs. As we speak, unemployment sits at 33%. You have young people who are absorbed into things like drugs. There is now extortion. I doubt very much that there are people who are 60 years and above who are involved in acts of extortion, but maybe there are, possibly because there's poverty in this country. As an organization of young people, you call yourselves the leader of society. You'll be celebrating 80 years of existence in this month of September. Do you think that ordinary South African who wants for this country to function is faintly interested in all of these questions about progressive forces and how the ANC wants to liberate blacks in general, when for 30 years the ANC has been in power, and look at where we are today economically? Do you think this is the route that is going to make voters come back to you come the next election when you're squabbling like this?
Solly, let me tell you, the reason why we are calling order to the leaders of the alliance is because we are very much aware of whatever you are raising now. It is us, the Youth League, who said people don't eat ideas. People want material, social reproduction, the ability to be able to reinvent themselves into better persons that they want to be. And that is why, as the ANC Youth League, we have been very firm, even under these conditions of the GNU, that we accept the GNU because it secures the progressive forces' power. What the progressive forces have not been able to restructure in this country is the structure of the South African economy that will cause the social reproductiveness that we're talking about. What do we mean by this, Cole? We said, move away, we said it to the ANC, move away from social, social security net that is cumbersome now. Go to job guarantee programs. Let's industrialize the South African economy in order for the economy to create the much needed jobs. It's us who said, let's introduce now export quotas of our raw mineral resources.
So what happened?
In order for them to be beneficiated, in order for that beneficiation to cause industrialization and create jobs.
So what happened?
We, the ANC, would have accepted that. If you have listened to the ANC's manifesto in these elections, the first, second, and the third are talking about putting people to work. That's the first priority of the ANC. The second one, building, ensuring industrialization that builds an inclusive economy. Those are the areas that we are saying we should be focusing on, not public spats.
Mr. Ngudle, it's talk. You see what you've just done now is to recall what the Youth League has called for versus what the mother body did. It's talk. Where is implementation of all of what you are proposing? Because today we sit with an unemployment problem. We sit with a potential social instability. And I'm stressing the word potential because people are going to say we're being alarmist. But the realities on the ground is that there is more death in this country as if we are in a war situation when in fact we are not a country at war.
Solly, I don't understand when you are saying it's talk, when you are saying there must be policy shift economically. The industrial policy of this country, it's us who are saying it must now shift.
But nothing is happening.
No,
it's your own leaders who say implementation is a problem.
No, Solly, I'm saying to you, this is what the progressive forces of this country should be occupying themselves about, restructuring the South African economy. That's a debate we're saying must be held. Not a debate about you are selling out, you are not selling out. That is unproductive. And that's why, as the Youth League, were very irritated about progressive forces attacking each other unnecessarily. What we should be discussing is the class character of this GNU and whether this GNU is going to yield what we want, which is transforming this country's economy in order for it to serve our people.
What do you say to those? What do you say to the sentiment? I just had a conversation with Anne Bernstein. She's from the Center for Development and Enterprise. She's also cautiously optimistic, but she does seem to listen out to this quote-unquote positive sentiment post the election period, and in particular what that election period has produced, which is the very same GNU that you are saying its class character must still be defined. There are those who are very positive about it and are saying, actually, this is possibly going to be the route to more investment in the country, and the byproduct is jobs for people. So, is this GNU a problem for you, the ANC, whose character still needs to be defined? And what do you mean by that?
Look, Solly, when we are saying that the GNU's character must be monitored, we mean for whose interest and for whose benefit must this government of national unity be? And we're saying it must be for the interest of South Africans, for the interest of the majority of South Africans, who, by the way, and I'm saying to you, by the way, are working class and Africans. Now, these are majority of South Africans. Now, this GNU must work for South Africans. This, in other words, if you want to use, economic words, you would say it must work in the national interest of South Africa. Now, I'm saying to you, Solly, whether the party or the ANC, fight about this selling out position, exactly what you are raising. South Africans want this country to work. They want this country to have more investment in the productive sectors of the economy in order for these young graduates that we have supported through NSFAS and other, bursary schemes that are coming from the ANC policies from the private sector. Because it's us, the ANC, who have imposed policies, even to JSE-listed companies, that they must have skills fund that they contribute in order to ensure that we build skills for the economy in order that the labor market can be able to absorb. But if you do not industrialize the economy, that economy will not be able to absorb the many graduates with different skills, into it. So that is why we're saying we can't be preoccupied about lamenting at each other. We should be preoccupied now on the economic question, to industrialize this economy and ensure that this economy creates jobs, that our people can be able to have social reproductive systems. That is what our people want.
All right.
That is what we're saying we must guard as progressive forces in this country.